Hello. I was asked to do a video on chest pain, so that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to try to make it as short as possible. I'm going to get down to the nitty-gritty and just talk about that really quickly. I'm going to try, because I know the long ones are kind of boring. You don't want to sit there waiting forever. I know I don't. Anyway, watching a 20-minute video, I don't really do that because my mind doesn't work that way, that slow. So anyway, I was asked to do a video on chest pain, and so I'm going to describe a couple of the chest pains or chest issues also that I've had myself, that I've experienced with my anxiety. I've actually gone to the ER and like numerous times and things like that because of these issues, and like I want to go ahead and discuss this because this is something that a lot of people that suffer from anxiety tend to deal with, and it's frightening. I know. I've been there, done that, and it still is. Even if I were to start getting chest pains again here in the next week or so, I would probably be freaking out, wanting to go to the ER, all that, because chest pains are kind of scary. It's something you always hear. You think heart attack, and that's an issue with a lot of people with anxiety. They think they're going to have a heart attack and die or something. I was asked to do this by I don't know. I haven't looked to see if he's a subscriber or not. But somebody who emailed me. So this is it. I know at the beginning when I started having chest pains, because honestly, I had never experienced chest pains with my anxiety for like the first couple of years I had anxiety. I didn't have chest pains ever. I know some of you, that's when you first find out you have anxiety, you end up with the chest pains, and all that stuff. But me, it wasn't that way. The chest pains did come, and at first, like my first bout with chest pains, it was more like a soreness in my chest, and it was like it wouldn't go away. It was like a throbbing pain right in my chest, right in the middle of my chest, like where my heart is, and it wouldn't go away. Like I would have it for days at a time. I would have it for hours on days, and it was really scary. And some people, some people associate that kind of pain with like gas or whatever, which, I mean, honestly is possible, especially if you're an anxious person and whatever you ended up eating that day, it could easily be gas, I've had cousins and stuff that have gone to the ER and it really is just gas. But like with me, it really wasn't. It was my anxiety. I had those issues with that pain. I've also had I remember one time too, one of my first times I had the chest issues was I was driving. As a matter of fact, I was going to my sister's house. I had all my kids with me, and I remember it was an hour to get to my sister's house because we both lived in the Dallas area, but to get from one side to the other is like extremely long. I was going halfway in, and I knew it was going to take me an hour. Anyway, on the way, I started feeling like this pressure. You know how they always describe when it comes to heart attacks, they talk about an elephant sitting on your chest or whatever, like pressure. Oh goodness. I felt that pressure, and I felt this weird kind of dull pain in my chest, and I felt the pressure. I couldn't breathe. My hands were stiff, like I couldn't, like this. And my arms started feeling the same way, going tingly and stuff. And I remember freaking out, and I was trying to stay calm while I was driving. I think it started probably 30 minutes into my drive. I had another 30 minutes. I went ahead, I made it to my sister's house, dropped off my kids, and told her, because I was going to visit with her, but I was like, Becky, I'm sorry, I need to go to the ER, because this was like one of the first times I had ever had this issue, so like I was freaking out about it. I went to the ER, they tested me, checked my blood, gave me a urinalysis, all kinds of stuff. I still remember this day because I was seriously freaking out. I remember I had my Bible in the waiting room, and I was reading. I was all by myself because my sister couldn't go with me, of course. She had her 3 plus my youngest 4 with her. There was no way. So anyway, I was there and reading my Bible, all that stuff, and I remember I was in the room. I had my gown on, all that crap, and like the doctor came in. I remember this because, well, he was a handsome doctor, But he came in and he sat down and he just smiled at me, and I was like, what? And he told me there is nothing wrong with you. And I was like, are you sure? You know how we get, you know, and I start bringing up whatever. Well, what about this? What about that? What about this? And what about, because I felt this way, you know, whatever. And I remember he was like, do you want me to give you a CAT scan? He was joking, being sarcastic. I actually paused for a minute because I was going to tell him, yes, please give me a CAT scan, you know? And he was like, no, you know? And I was like, no, you know? But he told me everything was fine, that my blood work, everything came out perfect. That's what they always tell you, you know, people with anxiety. Of course, that was a scary situation. And like I said, the other time with where it would last for days, I've also had, I think I mentioned this in my forums, and the forums that I'm part of or whatever. I've had like 3 or 4 times where my whole left side, I remember the first time this happened, my whole left side, seriously, literally, from the middle of my face all the way down, this side of my arm, everything went numb. You don't even know the panic that came out of me that day. Now, that freaked me out so bad. I automatically called 911. I went to the ER. That day, as a matter of fact, it wasn't good for me. My husband was here with me, and my whole left side had literally gone numb. Literally gone numb. I wasn't joking. I wasn't playing. I wasn't imagining anything. It really did. I started having shortness of breath. I started having the chest pains. And back pain, you know, they tell you about the back or whatever, and I was freaking out. I called 911 because my husband wouldn't take me, and long story there, but he even sat there on the couch pissed off at me while the ambulance came and got me and everything. So like, because apparently it was all in my head. I didn't know that at the time. It was my very first time. But anyway, that was another scary situation. Of course, I went to the hospital. Everything's fine. They tell me I'm perfectly healthy, that they've hooked me up to EKGs probably 3 or 4 times, 5 times probably even, I can say, over the years, and they've always told me everything was fine. I was like, well, okay, you know. Another time, the most recent time, I started getting these really sharp, horrible pains in my chest, like right in my left side, right under my breast, you know, where your heart is. I was getting these horrible, like as if somebody was taking a knife and stabbing me right there. It was horrible, and it would last for a few seconds, and I wouldn't be able to breathe. It would even last for minutes. And it was coming like once an hour, or even once every 30 minutes, something like that. I'm so sorry. I'm being so gross right now. But anyway, sorry, I'm having breathing issues already. I've been having them all day, and it's been getting a little bad. So I'm sorry. But anyway, when that happened, I went to the ER again and talked to the doctor, and that's when I found out that I was having muscle spasms in the muscles that are in between you know that there's little muscles in between each rib, in your ribs, and I was actually having muscle spasms in those muscles. And because he said there's a lot of nerves connected right there, especially around your breast area, especially for women, and that it's going to be very painful whenever those spasms occur. And I was like, well, you know, I had asked, well, what causes it? And he smiled at me and was like, well, anxiety. That if I'd been under a lot of stress lately and all this stuff, and I was like, well, I have anxiety, you know. And I don't ever tell doctors, especially in the ER, that I have anxiety, because I want them to treat me like an actual patient and not like a mental case. So I never reveal that until later on, after diagnosis or whatever. Anyway, he told me I needed to calm down, and that once I calmed myself down, that all the spasms would go away. And it's true. I had the spasms off and on for about, I want to say 2-3 weeks. It was horrible. Oh my gosh. It was to the point where I remember going into the store and I felt it and it felt as if it was a stabbing pain that went straight through my chest, through to out my back. Like I felt it in my back. I even felt pains in my neck, my jaw, my left arm. Oh goodness, everything. And I would have to stop. I wouldn't even be able to breathe. I would have to be like taking really shallow breaths because it hurt so bad. And that was happening to me too, all associated with anxiety. I'm trying to remember, like I said, I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, but I'm trying to remember. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention was the palpitations. Those are scary as heck too. I've had so many really, really bad ones. I've had where, I remember my last one I had, one of the big ones I had, I'll get certain symptoms for like a month straight or 2 months, and then all of a sudden they'll go away and something new will pop up. And the last time I had palpitations was in the summer of last year, and during that time, like every other day, I would have something happen. Like I would go to the grocery store or go to Walmart. All of a sudden, I'd get this huge palpitation, a couple of them in a row, and it felt like my heart was just like somebody literally put their hand in there and squeezed my heart. I don't know how to explain it. And I would feel like I was about to fall over or faint. And I don't know if that was because of me having the palpitation. I just felt like I had to hold my breath or something automatically, and I just felt that way. I don't know how all that works. But anyway, one of the scariest ones when I was in church, I was sitting on the pew listening to the sermon. Everybody was quiet. Everything was calm. And nothing scary was being preached about. Nothing, you know, it had just started. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I got this huge palpitation. I got 2 of them in a row, and I felt myself like want to pass out. That scared the crap out of me. Like I was sitting there in the quiet auditorium trying to stay calm, trying to be okay, and trying to tell myself it was just in my head, it was just anxiety, but I had never felt that before. Now, that's happened to me 2 or 3 times, and that wasn't cool. I had the chest pain then too, and I had the nausea, and I had, oh, that's another thing, with the stabbing pain, I would get the nausea too, which scared me and freaked me out too. I would get the nausea associated with the chest pain and the breathlessness and the jaw pain or the neck pain right here just on the left side, or my left arm would start feeling weird, or I'd get like a shooting pain down my arm. It's horrible, and I've had so many of these things happen to me, and so many times, and over the years, and it's always been, I go to the ER, I go to the doctor, they tell me I'm perfectly healthy, they tell me my heart's good, you know, and they tell me it's just my anxiety. So I hope this helped out somebody or you guys. I really do, and I hope y'all are having a wonderful night, and I will make another video soon about something else. There was something else I had wanted to do a video on, but I forgot what it was. But yeah, hopefully this helps people that are dealing with anxiety or health anxiety especially, because I know that's so scary, so scary. Just stay awesome, and remember you are not alone. And I'm here for anybody. If y'all want, just send me a message. You can send me a message, you can send me an email, you know, whatever. Feel free to message me, okay?